Okay, so the fossil that we were assigned to was the Tyrannosaurus rex. So here is the taxonomy and the classification of it. As you can see, it starts up at kingdom Animalia and it goes down to the genus Tyrannosaurus and then down to the species Tyrannosaurus rex. So the fossil of the specific T-Rex that we were looking at was found by Sue Hendrickson. She reported it back to Peter Larson, who she was working under, and she was able to tell that it was different from other bones and fossils because they had a distinct texture to them and they had a different type of joint in their vertebrae from other dinosaurs. So they were able to know that it was the T-Rex and not something else. So there was a legal battle involved in this specific fossil because Sue found it while she was working under Larson for an institute, but they found it on land that was owned by someone named Maurice Williams. And Williams was paid $5,000 for the fossil since it was found on his land, but it was actually worth a lot more than that. It was estimated different prices by different people, but it was in the millions, not in the thousands. And then when Williams found out about that, he wanted the fossil back, and so they ended up suing over it. And then Larson, who owned the institute, ended up being found guilty and being sentenced to 2 years in prison because there were a lot of other charges related to stealing fossils.
Okay, so the Tyrannosaurus rex was actually alive during the Cretaceous period, which was about 67 million years ago during the Mesozoic, which is when the dinosaurs were around. And then this is also the time where new groups of mammals, birds, and like flowering plants appeared. And then the animals that were present at that time were birds, sauropods, herbivorous dinosaurs, and pteropods, including the T-Rex. And then the T-Rex actually lived in a humid, semi-tropical environment near rivers, as water sources attracted different types of prey that allowed for a sort of feeding ground. And they mostly lived in North America, in the Midwest, and Asia. And then the rock was found in the cliffs of Faith, South Dakota. The town is largely filled with farmland, flat areas, and rocks on the countrysides, and it was found near a water basin.
So Sue was about 28, at the time of death. She was the oldest T-Rex until 2013 when another T-Rex specimen named Trix was found, and Trix was 30 years old. Sue suffered multiple injuries throughout her lifetime. She had a damaged shoulder blade, torn tendons, 3 broken ribs, that actually healed into 2 separate pieces, so they knew she had survived whatever happened to her in an accident. Her left fibula was twice the diameter of the right fibula, and they speculated that was due to infection. There was also multiple holes in the front of the skull, which was a little bit of a controversy because they couldn't figure out what it was at first, because they thought maybe Sue had been bit by another Tyrannosaurus rex. But after some studies, they found that it was actually a parasitic infection. There was also damage to the back of the skull, but they believe that was just post-mortem trampling and it didn't have to do with anything when she was actually alive. And then they also found fused tail vertebrae, which is consistent with arthritis from an injury. They believe she suffered from gout, which is a complex form of arthritis. And they knew that her death occurred in a seasonal stream bed, and they're thinking that the water and mud that kind of covered up Sue is what preserved her bones so well, so that is why she's most likely the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex that we had at that time. But they don't know what caused her death. So like we said earlier, Sue was discovered in August by Sue Hendrickson on the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation. And after Sue's discovery, there was a lawsuit over legal ownership that Abby kind of talked about earlier. But after that long battle, the remains ended up being returned to the landowner, Maurice Williams, in 95. And then in October of 97, Williams decided to sell Sue and at an auction. And the Field Museum really wanted to have Sue on display as opposed to going to any private organizations. So they had a lot of people chip in, and they ended up buying Sue for $8,362,500 US, which was at the time the highest amount paid for a dinosaur fossil ever. And yeah, that's it.